Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
So far, so good.
I'm so glad. Well, I've been really looking forward to this conversation, and it's just with great pleasure because you and I have been in class together, and I just want to kind of catch up with you. Is sort of the way I want to approach this. First of all, I guess I want to ask you. You live in Ohio. First, tell us a little bit about your company, just briefly, and then we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, sure. Ironically, so Mojo Tago is the name of the company. It's kind of a fun name. So the Tago part is kind of a mashup. It's taco to go, Tago, get it, so that's why we came up with Tago. And people say to go, Tago. They always ask me what's the right way to say it, and I just say I don't care. As long as the check clears, we don't care, So it's Mojo Tago. Started just about 10 years ago as a food truck.
Mm-hmm.
And I was leaving kind of the world of commercial real estate to find some entrepreneurial bliss in a food truck. And I found that and much, much more. And it's kind of evolved into a catering company. We had a bricks and mortar for a small period of time. Didn't like that a whole lot. Like last year, we were, I think about 90% of our sales were, catered type of sale.
Mm-hmm.
And now since Corona, we've totally pivoted into basically a food delivery company. So we're going out to neighborhoods, started with my own, of course, and neighborhoods in the community and, delivering positive mojo,
I love it. I love it. And I want to talk much more about it. I do want to ask you first, though, you are from Ohio. You live in Ohio. You are an Ohio State grad. And
Correct.
so why Clemson? You were in the Clemson MBA for Entrepreneurs program and still are.
Yes. In fact, I finished my accounting exam.
Yes.
Yes, I feel so good.
Congratulations.
So that's good. So yeah, it's, I look at where we are in the program, and I think we're all, our whole cohort is doing the same thing. It's like, we're kind of over halfway done. If you look at the classes and what's kind of left. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a pretty good feeling, we've,
Sure.
so yeah, if you look at what's behind me, I've got this is Ohio, obviously, and I've got my Brutus Buckeye. And you'll be proud, and my cohort will be proud. I just ordered a Clemson football helmet. I've got a Ohio State helmet over here, and I'll just let the two battle it out. So we'll see who wins. But so I ended up at Clemson for various reasons. I absolutely have fallen in love with that part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
It is so beautiful, and it literally, I feel like it's calling me home in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Just with the mountains and everything that's around there. Greenville is phenomenal. And originally I had thought about doing the all online. I met with Kristen and director of admissions, and she really talked me into the cohort hybrid program. I'm like, wow, man, I'm in Ohio. How can I do this? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't I do this? And it ended up being just a great choice. Having that camaraderie of the cohort and the support, especially in this time, we've been supporting each other a ton behind the scenes.
I bet.
And it's, I can't imagine not having that. And just I looked at the curriculum and I compared it to other curriculums, including Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a value for what you get. And it's so entrepreneurial, which is what I love. It's my life's work, essentially.
Sure.
So all those things kind of led me to on. I couldn't be happier. It's exceeded my expectations.
And I'm sure the class learned a lot from you as well. Tell me about your cohort.
It's a great mix of people, really, as you know, and of all ages and all walks of life. And you've got people that are, in the corporate world and looking to innovate, and you're there. but also thinking about, entrepreneurship and starting their own thing and what that would look like. And some of us are already doing that and have been doing that for years in different ways. But it's a creative group, a super smart group. I remember sitting there that first day just going, wow, I called my wife and I just said, I am surrounded by a bunch of smart people. I hope they don't catch on that I'm a dummy. So,
very cool. So the cohort has meant a lot to you, moving through the program at different stages and probably for different reasons.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And there's, I think I mentioned this to you. There's two of us, or three of us that are looking to collaborate. We have a call actually this week on a collaboration for enterprise, and Dr. Pickett is very supportive of that. And
Oh, good! I'm so glad.
yeah. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, worst case scenario, we just have a lot of fun, and so that's cool. But yeah, the support during this time, especially, this is such a time for small business, as you know, and for those of us that are, looking at SBA support and other ways to pivot and, survive in advance. We missed out on March Madness this year, but this has certainly been a substitute for that. It's all about survive in advance right now. And that's the opportunities are going to come out of this for sure.
One of the reasons I wanted to interview you is because of what you've done during this time with your business. And I think that your story is going to be inspiring to other entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, individuals that are trying to create and change up and really address what the customer could use now. So could you talk a little bit about what you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the key words in the program, MVP, iterate, those two come to mind. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to find a minimum viable product that would work in this environment. And that included, switching to an online ordering platform. And in fact, later today, we are going to a different platform, and the next step of that, and I'm very excited about that. But we really had to change the way that we did business, reached out to the consumer, going to these neighborhoods, and we call them emergency Mojo Taco parties essentially. And we'll bring the big food truck in, but it's in this environment, we're not looking to have people come up to the truck. It's just our base of operation within the neighborhood. So we find a friendly, that we can park by their house or just someplace that's inconspicuous. But then we run our catering vans to and from the truck, and we deliver food to your doorstep. It's totally contactless interaction, electronic payment, et cetera, and so on. But the connection with the customer has never been stronger. And I'm constantly talking to them. I'm constantly asking them, how can we be better? I'm also letting them know we're probably going to screw up some things. So if you could just let us know, and we'll certainly try to fix that. If you have any great ideas, send those along too, because we'll trademark them and pass them off as our own.
Perfect.
But just having fun with it, and people need to laugh right now. People need to have fun right now. And I found that this is a small way that we can try to do that.
And so if I'm a customer, I could probably subscribe every Thursday night, or I could subscribe to a emergency taco mojo, and you would show up with my margaritas and my tacos, and I would just know I have that to look forward to, maybe with some, however, neighbors, family, whatever. But I love the idea of subscription.
Yes, I think that's where it's headed. We are, ironically, we're in kind of a growth mode. This April has been, I believe it's going to, I haven't had time to count the beans other than the accounting exam that I took on Sunday. And my head is still kind of throbbing a little bit from that. But I think that, we're in this, I'm optimistic, I'm cautiously optimistic about where this can lead, and kind of the whens and the hows of all this, but we're a little bit constrained right now. And so I'm kind of looking at that and trying to figure out how can we break out of those constraints, and how can we grow, smartly, not,
Yeah.
not too fast, because,
Right.
that's important. But yeah, I think that subscription model, there's something to be said for that. I love the opportunity that we have here to provide content,
Mm-hmm.
and people want content. And I think people coming out of this are going to want to cook more at home, but not necessarily do all the heavy lifting. So we could offer maybe hot meals, but also some cold prep meals too, where,
Yeah.
you pull your iPad up and you're in the kitchen, you pour yourself a margarita, or you make your own with our mix that we provide, and we tell you how to make it stronger or not as strong, or add jalapeno infused tequila or not,
Yeah.
or whatever. And there's so much there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make your meal spicier, less spicy, and we can add some pro tips in there for you and make you feel like you're learning how to cook, or
Yay.
become a better cook.
Yeah, and so many people love learning, so they get the meal experience and the learning experience. We know that relationships are really important for entrepreneurs, for any person in business. And to me, it sounds like you've really strengthened your relationships, built new relationships during this time. I want to commend you for that. And I want to, because it sounds like coming out of this, you've grown more relationships. Individuals can either be victims or survivors. That seems to be a theme from when difficult times hit. How have you stayed buoyant and creative and really been a survivor here?
Well, this isn't my first rodeo with surviving in tough times, as you know, and I've talked to you about it before. Having lost a business partner almost 17 years ago, and having to go through that very alone, a very alone time, then a very, very dark time, tough time that lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's added a lot of fuel for me
Sure.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Having another opportunity to do something that is meaningful to me,
Mm-hmm.
where I can make a difference. And, it is true. It is lonely at the top. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're a single entrepreneur without a partner in the business or that type of thing, you find your network through other entrepreneurs that are in a similar situation.
Sure.
And I've talked to, during this time, you talk about strengthening relationships and being there for one another. We have been there for one another during this, and it's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about your daughter's involvement in your business.
That has been an added bonus to all this. Is we've had to keep our circle really small for good reasons. So I have one full-time employee. Her name is Joy, and of course she has to be happy all the time. It's a requirement. And Joy's great. She's working right now alone in our commercial kitchen that's on the other side of town and getting ready for the week. And she's just awesome. But beyond that, I had to look for other ways to bring people into the business safely in this environment. And so the girls have always been, I have 3 teenage daughters, as you know, and they've always been a part of the business. They've always been a fan. And our youngest one, the 7th grader, she hasn't known life without Mojo, and same with all of her friends. So it's kind of crazy, that generation. They've grown up with food trucks and known Mojo. So it's been cool to have them come into the business and have embraced it more than others.
Sure, I'm sure.
But it's a great opportunity to teach them something, that's real. And I make them fill out timesheets. Hey, you want to get paid? You fill out a timesheet.
Perfect.
Those type of things, I'm not your dad today. Okay. I'm your boss.
Yeah.
But they would maybe fire one of them, at least would fire me too if I keep screwing things up. So I'm not going to turn the reins over to them just yet, and have them show me my exit papers or whatever. But yeah, it's been great. That part has been really special.
I'm sure they're learning so much from you, and they'll never forget, the lessons learned here and the customer facing lessons. And I've worked in a family business before, and those lessons go right on with you. I did want to ask you about your why. What is your why really?
It's changed, I think, over the years, or maybe it's become more simple. I think I have a way of complicating things more than they need to be complicated. So, my faith is a big part of my why, and my family is a big part of my why. They're at the top of the list in that order. And so that's who I'm looking to impress. Yeah. That's who I answer to. That's my why. Yeah. If I impress anybody else, it's just gravy, or you can call it queso. It's queso. It's just additional. It's, but that's my why.
I want to go back for just a moment to your MBA class. You're still in the MBAe. You're doing this kind of amazing new thing in your business. You've recruited family members. You've built your relationships. I mean, what a full plate you have going on right now. But I did want to ask you, was there anything unexpected that's come from your experience in the MBA, the Clemson MBA?
That's a good question. It's, like I said before, it's kind of exceeded my expectations. It's been everything I'd hoped it would be, and it's been at the right time. It's been with regard to the people, the program, what it's done for me, and part of my why is also personally get better. That's on the list too.
Sure.
And if I can get better, then my business can get better. The people around me can get better. And it kind of is an energy, right?
Always.
Yes. I guess it's really made me, it's inspired me to get better, more than I've ever thought. And it's pushed me. And what we've talked about, some of the members in the cohort just this time right now, and I think I mentioned this to you last time we spoke, is that now's really the time to do your best work. It's not time to lay back and look for things to happen. It's just time to dig in, do your best work now, and see what comes from it. You might be surprised.
And even I heard in your comments a bit of experimentation. All your customers have become your focus group, and you're asking them questions, and you're thanking them for answers. And I know how generous you are. You're rewarding them with bonus items and taking good care of them, but you set yourself up to gain their feedback and really engage. I know I have one of those in my office. I love it. I love it. I think of you every time I see it. Tell me this, you have really, what does scale mean to you? Because you've done some different things here. Talk about scale a little bit for other individuals that might be going through what you're going through.
The funny thing about scale is I think it's such a personal thing. I think it's almost like, define what success means to you. Well, define what scale means to you. Does it mean freedom? Freedom to try, like a lifestyle business might provide, but also, a larger business could provide that too. But what is that important to you? Is it how much money you make? Is that how you keep count? Is that success to you? I think scale means different things to different people. And that is one of the things that's really come out of the program too, is it's okay for me to define scale. It's okay to find scale on my own terms.
Yes. There's
absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would encourage it.
Yes.
Because then you're being your true self if you're able to do that. And that's not easy. I think that's one of the biggest challenges in business, period, especially if you're in business for yourself, is to find scale on your own terms.
Did you find the program to be supportive of you finding scale in your own business,
Very
or?
much so.
Okay, good. Glad
Very
to hear
much so.
that. Okay.
Yeah, in the dialogue that's come out of we're all missing not seeing each other deeply.
Mhm.
Um, and I can't wait till we all get back together again. It's going to be one hell of a party.
You know it.
It's going to be great. And the just the camaraderie within the classroom, and you've helped develop this from day one. You started this, and you've really had us come together in that collaborative, mindset. So we challenge each other, but
Mhm.
we're asking each other questions too, because we're getting to know each other so deeply.
Mhm.
And we've talked about scale, like for my business. Well, it came up, what about franchise? Is that a path?
Mhm.
Maybe,
Yeah.
you
It's for
know,
some people, but not for others.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. But I would have people in the class say, well, it's okay if it's not. What is, maybe you want it to be just a lifestyle business, and it's,
Mhm.
I think it's easy to go down a path because it's someone else's path. I
Mhm.
mean, in life, your parents want you to do certain things,
Yeah.
society wants you to do certain things, people that influence you want you to do certain things. But if you can find your own, that the program has helped me really dial that in.
Good. And I'm glad to hear you say that. What I think that cohort is so interesting with the working professionals, because everyone is sitting there with their own body of knowledge, their own expertise, their own current position and goals. And so the feedback really is varied in the classroom.
Yeah.
And, like just what you said, the idea of franchise, I could see people that would really be, wow, that would be cool. But other people that really get, trying to manage family, trying to be successful, trying to balance all of that, and that it does have to fit for you. So I can hear that. Typically in that classroom, I think your cohort was probably how many people? 30-ish, 25-ish.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of room for discussion and
Yeah.
conversation,
Mhm.
and a lot of vulnerability in the classroom where people kind of open up and share
Yeah.
challenges, past challenges, even dreams, that they want to chase. And I think that openness and that vulnerability, I've heard students say, allows everyone's idea to grow. Because when you can be vulnerable and there's a trust in the room, then people start saying, hey, what about this, or what about that, or have you thought about this? And so you really get that synergy that doesn't always happen, but I definitely think it happens, hopefully in those cohorts.
I think it's happened in ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right. I think it depends on the mix of
Yeah.
people that are in there. And, I think we have a great mix of people that are willing to put it out there and talk about things, and, not hold their card, keep your
Yes.
cards so close to your vest. And
Yes, and sometimes people want to do that because they think, oh, this is my idea. I don't want to share it. I don't want anyone to see it. But what we know throughout history is when you share it and when you talk about it or have a partner or thinking partners, it usually gets richer and better. I did want to go back to, I love the idea that you have this food truck, you delivered joy and happiness and margaritas, and you've really worked through the years to define what the customer needs last year and now this year, and you've been really responsive. Is there a funny food truck moment that you might share with our audience? There must be stories.
there are a lot of them. It's funny, now that I'm in the 50 and over club. I was driving the truck the other day and I realized I had my blinker on the whole time. So that's kind of um, that's the most recent one. But
Yeah.
there have been so many when I don't even know where to start. I mean, I sent you that video. We had an opportunity to be on a show, and um, I still to this day think that they sabotaged my refrigeration so that stuff would fall out. Uh, that was one of the most interesting weeks of probably of my life ever. Um, we were open to the public at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to make some changes. So we ended up kind of closing the shop, and we put this sign in the window and like papered the windows. And then I got this sign made, said closed for filming, just to create this kind of this buzz.
Nice.
And then this crew came in from Canada for like 2 days. We had to film in the middle of the night, but in between we had this huge catering job. And so we were like totally sleep deprived. And I mean, they were all up in our business, just, take after take and do this and that and the other. And then they filmed us going to this competition that was worth $10,000. And it's about an hour away. And, I'm just thinking, God, what if we don't even place? Like, it's just gonna suck. Being on TV, and we ended up
crying into your soup. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we ended up winning, and it was great. It was very satisfying. And my family was there. And I mean, I cried like a baby, and because I was, for a lot of reasons, I think I was just so sleep deprived at that point. I mean, picture of a puppy would have made me cry, but anyway, that's one of the moments I think about, and because it had everything, it had, you talk about I think about that movie, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And Cuba Gooding, he says the Quan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry Maguire's like, that's a great word. What does that mean? And it's like family, love, money, everything. It's like everything. That was one of those Quan moments, it just was everything.
Perfect. Tell me, there must be kind of a most proud moment too. And maybe that was certainly one of them, but would there be another one that you might share?
Yeah. One of the really cool things that's happened out of this, so much has happened in the last few weeks, but we've been kind of in this scramble mode of not knowing what to expect down the road. Like, how long is this going to last? And, am I going to be okay? Am I going to have, is there going to be enough money to sustain, the business, our personal situation? Everybody's going through this, right?
Wow.
And there's been this love of small business during this time that is great. And I hope it lasts forever, but, I'm not naive either, but it has been pretty awesome. So my insurance agent here locally called me up out of the blue and saw that we were starting to do these neighborhood things. And, he loved the idea of what we were doing and just the pivot and how quick we pivoted. And he was, I think, inspired by it a little bit, being a small business person his whole career too. And he called up and said, listen, I just want to give a donation of $500, and you feed whoever you want out of this, however you want to do it. And I've been wanting to start our own fund. So he funded basically the start of this Cinco de Mojo fund, which is basically random acts of kindness or us just feeding people kind of on our own terms and when we can work it into the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a neighbor friend hit me up, also a small business person. She's a designer. And she has a friend that's fighting brain cancer, and said, I'd really love to send some positive mojo their way. And she rang up this big order, and she's concerned too about her business, just like we all are and everything else. And she, of course, she's one of those people's like, do not give me any special treatment. I'm paying you. Send me an invoice. Yeah. And I called her back and I said, because I was trying to figure out what to do with this $500. Like, I can't just roll up to Costco and feed 300 people. I'd love to, but we have such a small crew right now. And I wanted to make it our own.
Sure.
And so I just called her back and I said, your meal has been comped by the Cinco de Mojo Fund. So don't worry about a thing. And in fact, we're going to deliver it to your friend. It's 30 minutes away. And we're going to throw in a Mojo hat and whatever. And the response I got back, well, I sent you the order.
Yes. You did.
You saw it, and that's starting to happen. We had another person so we're starting to kind of evolve this. And then I had somebody said, well, I'd like to donate to that. Yeah. And then my insurance got a call back and said, I want to donate another $500. And
my gosh.
This thing is becoming a thing.
I love this. And so is this online where people can see it and donate?
It will be. That's we're going to incorporate that into our ordering. and let people know what the Cinco de Mojo Fund is, first off. And we're going to create, a separate account for it and just, measure it over time. But I think I'll know more, after today,
Mm-hmm.
with our online ordering partner. But I think what we'll probably end up doing is setting up just a checkbox. Hey, would you like to donate to the Cinco de Mojo Fund?
Yes.
$1, $5, $10, enter an amount, whatever.
Sure.
And is there anybody in particular that you feel like would need some positive mojo right now? And if so, just send us a note.
Well, I think that people are looking for ways to help others, and this is a wonderful way to do so. So we will want to know more about that and how to. And your site, what is it called? Your website.
It's mojotago.com. So it's mojotago.com.
Wonderful. That's a great thing. And if I'm understanding correctly, this fund will be used to in supportive ways for individuals in need, for businesses in need, and you'll kind of do that at your discretion when you see those needs arising. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it's kind of, especially for right now, because we have such a limited crew, we're just kind of doing it where we can fit it in.
Yes.
So last week we did 2. We'll see what this week presents. If there's people out there in need, this week we have the funds to take care of it.
Yes.
And then we'll just go from there. I'm fortunate in that, with the resources that I have, with the big food truck, with the catering trucks, with our commercial kitchen, we have a lot of flexibility and we're able to be nimble. And the one thing I'd like to do possibly at some point in time when the dust settles from all this, which who knows how long that, we could have an event for healthcare workers. Like,
yes.
We could do something fun for them. I mean, we'll see what the fund provides, and we'll see what, how things shake out. And just when the timing's right, we'll be able to do some stuff here and there,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the next iterations throughout the rest of the year, in terms of how things change and so forth. But I think you and I would probably agree that some valuable lessons can be taken away from this. And there maybe are some things that we don't want to see changed. And you mentioned one, and that's that support of small and local business, and kind of showing them the love. What else would you like to see kind of stay around from this?
I love what I'm seeing in my own house. I don't think we've been this tight recently anyway. And, it's hard when you have teenagers. They get, involved with their screens and there's so many of them, whether it's their phone or their computer, their iPad or whatever, or just streaming Netflix, which I canceled that account today. Don't tell anybody. And we're cooking meals at home. I'm painting today with we're painting as a family today.
Yeah, cool.
We did some drywall sanding last night and some patch and repair. And we're just taking on projects here and there. I think that's great for everybody.
Me too. More family.
Yeah.
Brian, you are amazing. And I have so enjoyed doing this podcast with you. When we spoke the other week on the phone, I just couldn't wait for you to tell the story of what you've done and what you've made of this particular time. So we'll be interested in talking with you again and hearing how things are going in the next couple of months and the next iteration. I love that you've turned your food truck into a delivery food truck. And you're really meeting people's needs right now. So we're wishing you all the best.
Yeah, well, you started it. I believe you inspired our class. You certainly inspired me, and it was a great way to kick off the program. And I'm assuming that's by design. Bringing us all together first and kind of breaking each other down. As individuals, but as a group too. But I think that strengthened us so much. And really made us kind of focus, but you're an inspiration too. And you fueled a fire certainly in me. And I think in our classmates too. And I think the program continues to do that. And then we're also encouraging each other's too, behind the scenes, just the amount of support whether it's, via text or phone calls. Obviously we're doing a lot more of this now too,
Yeah.
so it's,
And so much of that, I think, is the Clemson spirit. I mean, I think so much of Clemson is family. And once you're part of that, I think we really do try to grow that sort of mindset. So I'm thrilled to hear you say that, and thrilled that that's been your experience. But well, listen, thank you so much again, and you take good care, and we'll look forward to hearing from you in another time. Okay?
all right,
Take care, Brian.
yeah, thank you.
Bye.